The emperor's advisors suggested that he have a suit of clothes made from the fabric for a special procession. He agreed and awarded each of the swindlers the cross of the Order of Chivalry to wear and the title of Knight of the Loom. The swindlers were busy working away on their empty looms. The day before the procession, they pretended to take the cloth off the loom and got to work on making up the clothes. Late into the night they worked, cutting the imaginary cloth with scissors and stitching the air with needles, as if they really were making a suit of clothes. The swindlers burnt 16 candles in their workrooms, so that everybody could see just how hard they were working. Then, finally, they put down their needles and declared, "The Emperor's suit is ready." When the Emperor arrived, the swindlers held up their hands, just as if they were presenting some new clothes.
"Here are the trousers, Your Majesty,"
one declared.
"This is the coat,"
said the other, holding his hands in the air.
"Just look at the cloak,"
they said.
"The other thing about this special fabric," they continued, "is that it's as light as a feather to wear. Your Majesty won't feel a thing."
So the Emperor stripped down to his long johns, and the swindlers carefully helped him to step into his new trousers, even though there was nothing there, and they knew it.
Oh, magnificent suit.
They helped him on with his coat, and they even fastened the train of his cloak carefully around his waist.
Oh, I can see, that's beautiful.
The Emperor stood admiring himself in the mirror.
"How wonderful the suit looks!"
came the cry from his courtiers.
"What fabulous colors! What beautiful patterns!
How well His Majesty wears the suit!"
Then came an announcement that the procession was ready to leave. The Emperor looked again in the mirror, and even though, as far as he could see, he was only wearing a pair of long johns, he turned from side to side and exclaimed,
"I am quite ready. Doesn't the suit fit well?"
"Oh, thank you indeed. I can see you are a man of fashion."
The courtiers, of course, agreed, and the chamberlains fumbled on the floor where they imagined the train of the cloak must be. They couldn't see it, but they didn't want people to think they were stupid, so they just held out their arms as if they were carrying a magnificent cloak. So the procession set off. All the people were lining the streets or leaning out of the windows to get a good view of the Emperor's famous new suit.
"What a magnificent outfit!"
They cried.
"The colors are splendid!"
"The design is so unusual!"
Never had the Emperor's clothes created so much excitement.
"Oh, look! Doesn't the Emperor look wonderful?"
Everybody was very eager to tell their neighbor just what they thought of the new outfit.
"Isn't that great?"
No one wanted to admit they couldn't see anything and risk being thought a fool or not fit to do their job.
Beautiful! Oh, I can see it's beautiful.
Of course, they couldn't see anything because there wasn't anything to see.
What a fine new suit! Fantastic! Doesn't he look great?
Then, all of a sudden, a small child shouted out,
"But the Emperor hasn't got any clothes on!"
"Good heavens!" declared his father, looking highly embarrassed.
"Just listen to the innocent!"
The whispers started to pass through the crowd.
What did the child say? He said the Emperor has no clothes on.
The child says the Emperor has no clothes on. The whispers got louder and louder as the procession passed by. And then all together the crowd exclaimed,
"The Emperor has no clothes on!"
The Emperor has no clothes on! The Emperor has no clothes on!
and the Emperor had a horrible feeling that they were absolutely right.
Vain old fool!
Oh well, the Emperor thought to himself, I've come this far. I'll just have to keep going.
Doesn't he look knew there wasn't any cloth. Oh, so did I.
He drew himself up to look as important as possible and marched on at the head of the procession. At the same time, the Emperor was deciding that he was never going to be so vain again, and that he would try a lot harder to do his job properly. And although his chamberlains began to feel rather silly in front of the laughing crowd and looked at each other nervously, they kept on holding the magnificent train that wasn't really there.